The Sportscast, July 8th, 2022. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Apple Podcast. You could also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online digital radio. You can listen to us 24 hours. Also visit thesportscast.net for the latest and greatest breaking news, and also our app, The Sportscast. If you have the Sportscast app, you'll get notifications of anything late breaking. What a week. I have taken almost 2 weeks off. Kind of a slow period in sports, but not really. There has been news, and the man that hosts Hoops Talk on Sunday nights is joining us today all the way from Rochester, New York. Ryan Christa, welcome back to the Sportscast.
Santiago, yes. Typically, this is the dog days of sports summer, but not this year. A lot happening in the crazy world of mostly non-competitive talk, just a lot of news and notes.
Yes, and the news that's driving right now in sports, NFL, they're calling the shots. Yesterday, actually 2 days ago, Baker Mayfield traded to Carolina Panthers from the Browns. What are your thoughts over that trade? Obviously, Baker wanted to move out. He definitely knew that Watson was going to start, but obviously there is a situation there. But what are your thoughts over Baker to Carolina? Will this push Carolina to another level?
I don't know if it'll push them to another level. It's I say move out of desperation. Matt Rule trying to save his job, and I think I don't think it's necessarily the fault of Sam Darnold, but they got to improve on offense, and so they're going to take a chance in it. Baker had an $18 million contract, and really I think what sold the deal was
he had to take a pay cut.
Things, you took a $3 million pay cut, which you can earn back in incentives. And then also the Browns paying, $10 million of it. So really, the Panthers are only on the hook for, I think it's a shade less than $5 million of his contract. So, in the role of starting quarterbacks, if you're paying less than $5 million for a starting quarterback, you're in good shape, So whether, I don't know if this means that they have a competition between Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield.
Is there competition there? Some people say it's not. It's a no-brainer.
I think talent-wise, I think Baker Mayfield is better. But, Sam Darnold was there for a year and has got familiarity with the players and playbook. So that kind of gives him an advantage in that regard. But they might just use that, pick they got from the, Browns to, move on with, get that pick back that they gave to the Browns in the trade for Sam Darnold, because I feel like they got pretty much the same value. But we'll see what, in the end, this is either a big move that's going to, drive the Panthers another level, or just, Baker Mayfield flames out and, that's his career as a starting quarterback. So
NFC South obviously has the Bucks, Atlanta, and the Saints. How would you, as of right now, how would you order them after the 22 season?
The Bucks, I think, obviously number one. You got a lot of great pieces on defense, and obviously having Tom Brady as a quarterback doesn't hurt either. And then I gotta go to the Saints. I think that they probably have the best. I think one of the best talent from front to bottom of their roster. They do have some issues. We don't know what Jameis Winston's going to be like as a starting quarterback. Another, under the table issue is that, we're talking so much about Deshaun Watson and how long he's going to be suspended for. We have a situation with Alvin Kamara where we pretty much have proof that, of an incident, happened right around the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas. So he could be suspended for some time this year. So that's still out there. And then you have I go with the Panthers, and then probably the Falcons. I think when you trade away Matt Ryan, and you're bringing Marcus Mariota, or third-round quarterback Desmond Ridder, you're probably not looking to win a lot of games this year. You're kind of trying to tank it, I think.
You said the word tank, a big word here on the Sportscast. You mentioned Deshaun Watson. The Browns just have him and Jacoby Brissett. Last week, Watson's attorney Busby announced that they settled 21 out of the 24 cases settled. Lot a hearsay, of course. Rumors NFL might suspend him for a season. I've heard as at least 12 games. Your thoughts on the Watson situation and the Browns?
It's interesting, As soon as a couple months ago, as soon as he was cleared of all legal, trouble in the sense of going to jail or not. He was on the market, and it was a bidding war. And ultimately he took the Browns, and why wouldn't he when he got all that guaranteed money? As soon as that happens, all these civil cases kind of start popping up. So you have this. So right now where we're at is they just had a 3-day hearing with basically a independent judge, who will give her ruling here, any time from now until next week or two, about how long she thinks he should be suspended for. And then if the NFL doesn't like it, then ultimately Roger Goodell can make his own ruling. So that's kind of where we're at. I think NFL wants him basically suspended for a year, away from the team. Watson's basically saying, hey, he was suspended last year for a year because, he couldn't go, the Texans basically were not allowed to play him. So he's already said he's kind of faced that suspension already. So we'll see where this goes from here. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to be any less than 8 games. I don't think it'll be more than a year. So I guess I plan on him not playing this year, and I think the Browns did. Because you remember that if you've got to look at his contract, he's only due to make $1 million this year out of $200 and something million. So this contract was basically made with knowing that he's not going to be around for most of this year.
Yes, and as Ryan mentioned, the decision could come down to Sue Robinson, who is the disciplinary officer for the NFL. And as Ryan said, Goodell could step in and make that decision. Look, I didn't like your decision. It should be this and that. We'll see what happens. A lot of eyeballs on Cleveland, which last night we had a conversation on the Jersey Boys Sports Talk, and maybe Ryan could chip in with this. Cleveland is an interesting sports town. They have a lot of issues, don't they?
It's your typical blue collar, they love their sports towns. They're very emotional about them, passionate, especially about the Browns. They want to win, That's what's interesting about Baker Mayfield. 2 years ago, he leads them to the playoffs. Not only leads them to the playoffs, he takes them into Pittsburgh and basically demolishes their rival, who's tormented them for years. And then, 1 year later, he had obviously a year to forget, but a year where he plays through injuries. Yeah. So instead of, giving him his kudos, we basically say, we're punishing him for not sitting out and playing subpar football, and now he's run out of time. And I think Baker Mayfield has his own issues. I don't think he's a very he's got a personality that could rub people the wrong way. I don't know what that's the best way I could probably say it. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's just he's going to be a guy, no matter how much success he is, he's going to kind of wear out the room, and people have that.
Are you saying he's a cancer in the locker room?
I don't know if it's a cancer. He's just got a big personality. He's a bit,
He does progressive commercials and sneaker commercials.
Yeah, I don't think he's a uniter. I think he's.
Yeah, I understand. In the locker room.
So that's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then you've always said the Cavaliers, up and down, with LeBron James, their early success in his career in Cleveland, to have their heart ripped out when they went to Miami, only come back and win a championship. So.
And the Indians changing their name.
Indians, yeah. The Indians are. Back in the '90s, they were, they were.
I remember them. The Marlins faced them in the World Series.
Yeah, huge fan base selling out what was formerly known as, which is now known as Progressive Field, but formerly known as Jacobs Field. I think they had a ridiculous streak of selling out games when they first opened, and now, even though it was a fairly stable franchise, having a hard time filling up that stadium consistently. They're your average Northeast blue collar, highly emotional fan base.
Well, there you have it. Baker is going to Charlotte, a amazing city. My brother was born there. He'll be throwing to wide receivers like Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. Not bad. I think Carolina is going to be slightly better now with Baker versus Sam Darnold. So we'll see what happens next couple of months. Baker wanted to leave. He's happy. New home. We'll see what happens. All right, let's move to basketball. Ryan, Chet Holmgren has impressed Summer League. He was drafted number 2 for OKC. Maybe transform OKC because they need some revival there. What are your thoughts over this player and your projections in his future in the NBA?
That first night, he had Twitter ablaze, in 23 minutes, 23 points, 6 blocks. But, you saw the next couple of nights, the team did well, and he didn't do bad. He wasn't that electrifying player that we saw the first night. He's 19 years old. He's going to have good nights and bad nights. He's a unicorn. He's like Porzingis 2.0, 7 feet tall, can dribble the ball, can shoot from the outside, much like a unicorn they call it, very unique talent. Obviously, as we saw in the last couple of nights ago, not strong, kind of taken the hole a couple of times by some stronger players. He'll struggle. I think the writing's on the wall that the Thunder are still going to struggle. I think the whole strategy is acquire a lot of draft picks, draft a lot of players, and see who's good, and keep kind of pick and choose, who they want to build this organization around. This team, it wasn't that long ago, 10 years ago, maybe less than that, they had Durant, Harden, Westbrook, Ibaka, and now that's all torn away. They've taken all of, stripped everything away, and they're just building from the ground zero,
And hopefully not repeat that same mistake of having all those 4 stars leaving.
I don't know. It's tough, Santiago. The NBA, it's tough to keep, high-profile athletes in non-high-profile cities, like Oklahoma City. That's what's kind of amazing with the Bucks, and Giannis, really committing to a city for the long term is that, obviously you can go to the New York or the LA markets and, really flourish as brand, make a lot of more money. But, he's committed to, to an organization that took a chance on him and building, So, I like what the Thunder are doing. I think Chet, obviously, being a Gonzaga guy, I watched every single one of his games last year. See his upside, see, where he's going to struggle at times. I think you'll see the Thunder try to be competitive for about 50 games. And I wouldn't be surprised after, that many games, Chet's worn down, that they kind of just shut him down and continue to tank. The crew, they got some pieces, Josh Giddey is a really good player. I mean, what is interesting about the Thunder and kind of drive you crazy in Summer League is they drafted 2 high-profile players with the same exact name. Jalen Williams from Santa Clara, really, a good scoring guard. Then they drafted Jalen Williams out of Arkansas, big guy, athletic, So, I mean, they're driving their fans a little crazy with that. But
you're definitely setting projections for OKC in the future, which the West has been a tough place to build in.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Having them in the Mavericks division is good for now because it's usually 5 to 6, easy wins every year for the Mavericks right now. And
anyways,
we'll see where they go. They'll be okay.
Let's go south. You mentioned the Mavericks. You prompted it. You provoked it. Jalen Brunson, formerly Maverick, is now a New York Knick. Has agreed with the Knicks for a $104 million deal. An amazing player in the playoffs. Now in New York, a setback for the Mavs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how could it not be, Santiago? This is, a guy who came in the league with Luka, second-round pick, every year just got a little bit better, a little bit more consistent. Really flourished under Jason Kidd. So it's tough, we saw him in that first round against the Jazz, when Luka was injured, put that team on his back, which is going to have to put the New York Knicks organization on his back because that's what they're paying him to do. So really interesting, concept that they got there are 3 main players on this roster, all left-handed, which I don't know if any team's ever built a roster full of left-handed players like that, with R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle.
Julius Randle, yeah. And, of course, you got Obi Toppin. This Knicks team is formulated. You seen some promise there? Or the organization is bad and it's going to stink once again?
I don't know. Obviously, I just, I gave a lot of kudos to Brunson, but being, Robin is a lot different than being Batman, Santiago. And, so, every night, when he plays for the Mavericks, they're not building a game plan to stop Jalen Brunson. They're building a game plan to stop Luka Doncic. So, it's a lot easier, you got a lot more room, a lot less pressure, but this is what you do. You want to come to New York, play for the, flagship franchises of the NBA and the most famous arena in the NBA and maybe in the world, Madison Square Garden, being coached by, your own dad, There's just a lot of things that, even though the Mavericks could offer more money in the long term, it wasn't going to happen, I think they still hasn't signed a deal officially because I think they're still kind of formulating if this is going to be a straight free agent signing or if the Mavericks and Knicks can reach, a sign and trade. So that's kind of really what's lost in this piece. But the Mavericks started a free agency with a bang, the trade, the acquiring Christian Wood, I think the forefront is that everybody thought, that Slovenian basketball icon Goran Dragic was kind of going to be the new Jalen Brunson and sign with, the Mavericks, but that didn't, he chose to sign with the Bulls for really not much money at all. So it kind of left, Mavericks Nation scratching their head to see where they're going to go from there.
But good pickup by the Bulls.
Yeah, it's not. He was never going to be Jalen Brunson, but he was going to kind of add depth, their guard position for the Mavericks. But right now, there's a lot of frustration. I think, a team that had such success, a couple of months ago, going all the way to Western Conference Finals. They added, position that they desperately needed. To fill in that was a true center, Christian Wood. But now you're leaving, a void. You do get Tim Hardaway back who missed most of the year with a pretty severe broken hand. So you get him back. But, where's the depth going to come from? We'll see if they got any, there's not many big fish left in the sea to get, Santiago.
The NBA is thin. Mavericks had a good playoff run, beating the Jazz and Phoenix. Tight series all the way to the end. And, of course, a loss against the Warriors, which was a 5-game series. The Mavericks were definitely outperformed. So we'll see what happens. Losing Brunson is a little bit of a setback, but we'll see if Mavericks can load up a bit. Because, hey, if they could beat the Jazz and the Suns, it look good. They just need to beat the Warriors. That's just that one team. They're just one team away, to reach the championship.
Yeah, and I think that's, obviously when they were getting killed on the board, they had no answers for Looney, so now you go and get Christian Wood, so you fill that up, but now you're just left with a kind of a bigger void, Brunson, because the West has got better, Santiago, the Jazz trade, Gobert to the Timberwolves, they got a lot
Gobert
better,
or Gobert?
Gobert, I think, but we're in America, Gobert. So.
Gobert, that's fine with me. I'm just asking. I mean, clarifying. I'm clarifying.
Yeah,
but,
so I mean that's an interesting fit.
There is. Go ahead. Finish that thought. And I have an offer for you.
You're looking at the Suns are still going to be good. Whether what they do with DeAndre and I don't know. That's kind of the biggest fish left in the sea. I think in regards to free agency. And then the Clippers are getting back.
Okay, hold that thought.
Kawhi Leonard. Yeah.
There is one player that the Mavericks could pick up, and it's a man named of Kevin Durant, who requested a trade to the Brooklyn Nets. Requested a trade. He's currently with the Brooklyn Nets. Your thoughts over this? Where can he go? Can he go to Dallas? I haven't heard anywhere else. But what do you think about this? Is this hearsay, or is he going to stay in Brooklyn eventually?
I mean, he's not going anywhere right now. I don't think the price tag is huge, And what said the price tag is that Rudy Gobert, who obviously isn't Kevin Durant, got, 4 first-round picks, a trade swap. So, so the price tag was set pretty high in that regard. For the market for Kevin Durant. So I'm not sure if he's going to be moved anytime soon. Obviously, his desire is to play with the Heat or Suns. But, I mean, it's really up to those organizations to put together a package. It's probably going to have to involve if he goes to any of those two teams, it's probably going to have to involve another team to make a trade happen.
3-way team. By the way, Vegas has the Suns. Having Durant going to the Suns, that's what Vegas is saying.
Yeah, I mean, obviously having Chris Paul and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, along with,
is that a championship formula right there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Suns before Kevin Durant are a championship team, really. So,
but how much will Durant take away from Booker?
I mean, points-wise, a little bit, but he's going to get a lot easier shots. You got a world, you got Booker on one side, Durant on the other side, and, it should work in theory. And then you got one of the best passes in NBA history, setting him up. So, it should work, but I mean, obviously, what's it going to take to get Kevin Durant? You know, what's it going to take giving up Booker?
I don't think that he will take that deal, though. I don't think. I just don't see
think
Pat Riley doing it.
will, you know. Pat Riley has been aggressive, but he's also done it without, selling out the franchise, or selling out what he thinks is building blocks. Let's take this back to 2014. LeBron James was a free agent. All reports say he, done deal, he's going to stay in Miami. For some reason, there was a friction a little bit, the last couple of years with, LeBron and Eric Spoelstra. LeBron, goes to Pat Riley, I want to stay here, but, I want to build around it with another coach. Pat Riley says, we want you here, but we want to do it with Eric Spoelstra. And next thing you know, he's back in Cleveland. So he's very loyal, Pat Riley, to his people. So, so basically that thing is that I don't think he's going to, quote-unquote, coddle a player like Kevin Durant.
No, he's not. That is not the Heat culture. Yeah. They did not do it to LeBron either.
No. So they're going to do it a certain way. He's going to build his team. If a deal happens and they're able to get Kevin Durant, sure. But he's not going to sell out the franchise for it.
There you have it. Okay, another Brooklyn Net personnel is rumored to be traded to the Lakers. Kyrie Irving. I know Ryan's a big fan of Kyrie. He wears his sneakers. What are your thoughts? Could this happen? I heard LeBron wants him, but those two didn't get along in Cleveland. Could it happen again?
Yeah, I mean, I think they squashed whatever issues they had. They won a championship together. It's not like they kind of worked together.
It worked out.
I mean, it worked out, I mean, in Game 7, the most important game, Kyrie was the best player on the court. When he's there and he's focused, he's unstoppable, really. He showed it, though, this year for the Nets, but unfortunately, he's MIA a lot. I mean, you really got to, the Nets sold their house, to get these trio players, Harden, Irvin, Durant, and they got nothing really back. They got a player that hasn't played in a year plus, and Ben Simmons, and that's who they're going to have to build their franchise around, it looks like right now, unless they can get a star player back in return.
Talk about dumpster fire.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that was bad. Was able to get bad enough, get some assets, build back up, with these star players, with a vision, and basically tank. I mean, it is what's frustrating, I think. Yeah, I have nothing against Kevin Durant. Obviously, world-class player, world-class scorer. I don't think he's a bad
diva.
guy. I don't think he's a cancer. He's a little bit diva. But he's a guy who, they signed him in a long-term contract after he popped his Achilles. Basically, let him take the year off, didn't rush him back. There's, some organizations, he was healthy enough at the end of the year prior to play, but basically told him, the big picture is you're here for the long term. It's not about that year, it's about the future. And now, they brought in the players he wanted, and now all of a sudden he's bailing on them, Not a good look for him, This is a player who couldn't get it, quote unquote, couldn't get it done in Oklahoma City. Won a couple of championships with Steph Curry and Golden State. Kind of wanted to create his own team. Goes to Brooklyn, and now wasn't going his way, so now he wants out. Makes social media go around, I guess. But I don't know. We'll see. I really have no idea what's going to happen.
We'll see what happens. Those two players can
we could
stay.
see a dark horse. Yeah, I don't think. I think they want to get rid of Irvin. I think that's no doubt.
Which one do you think will most likely leave? Durant or Kyrie?
I think Kyrie probably. But there's only really the Lakers are literally the only team that are willing to take on Kyrie in his contract, you know. But for that to happen, you know, they're going to have to send him a Russell Westbrook or a 3-team deal and send him somewhere else, you know. The Nets don't want Kyrie. They kind of a, you know, he is a cancer, I would have to say, you know, and he's a distraction, you know.
Ryan didn't want to bring up that word, but it has to be brought up.
It's hard not to, you know. You give the guy benefit of doubt, you know. I'm not hating because he thinks the Earth's flat, which we all know is crazy, but
I've heard some people do believe in that. But anyway, that's for another podcast.
Yeah, but anyways, this is they have to get, you know, I think, you know, they would love to still build around Kevin Durant because he's that good of a player. But yeah, you also don't want to keep a guy who's not going to want to be there. So we'll see where the Nets go. It might be, you know, but at the same time, you know, the Nets, if they don't want to keep Durant, aren't forced to send him to the teams he wants to go to. They're going to look for the best deal possible for them. You know, they got to look out for their own back, you know. So I'm intrigued. I'm more than certain that they're going to trade him. I just don't think they're in a rush to trade him because they're looking for the best deal they can get.
There is time. There is time. The season starts till October, and we'll see. A former Maverick named Steve Nash could possibly hold it together. I don't know if he's capable. We'll see what happens. And
I don't know. I mean, this is obviously. I mean, you can't hate on Steve Nash. I mean, great player. You know,
his best days were in Dallas, by the way. I thought.
I don't know. MVP in Phoenix, so it's hard to, you know. He was the perfect fit for Mike D'Antoni when he came in. So, but anyways, as a coach, you know, I think he was dealt a rough hand. You know, I think Kyrie and Durant were kind of looking for a puppet figure, a guy they could, with not a lot of experience, where they could kind of do things their way. So that's kind of why they kind of went with Steve Nash. Now you're left with Steve Nash as a guy coaching. Probably a whole bunch of prospects, you know, if they are trading in Kevin Durant.
Well, we're just run out of time. I love talking to Ryan because we could go anywhere. We could go Wimbledon next. We could go to Steve Clifford to the Charlotte Hornets, but we're out of time. But you can catch Ryan and Erwin Dudley Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern, and they'll be talking more about the trade deadline, the free agency, and all that, just to decipher what's going on with these teams. A lot going on, a lot of time left.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, we talk about the NFL really doing a great job of captivating the whole calendar. I think what the NBA does is pretty good too. You know, we just finished with the finals, 3 weeks ago? We go right into the NBA draft. Right now we got Summer League, so, you know, they try to get as much in before the NFL actually starts playing football.
I will say this. There is – I do think Garoppolo might make some news. We'll see. That's the only last player that I know that can make a big splash.
I think Garoppolo is better than Baker Mayfield. And I don't know I just don't know what deal the 49ers are waiting to trade Jeremy Garoppolo. To me, it's just every day that goes by, it leads me to believe that they don't think Trey Lance is the guy.
I don't think he is. I've heard he's not the guy. They've seen him in practice.
I mean, people hate on Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, they were leaving the Rams with like 10 minutes ago last year. You know, it took a great drive from Matt Stafford.
He's had some good playoff runs.
Yeah, I mean, they were winning the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I mean, I really don't understand why they're trying to move away from him. Oh, I mean, he kind of just fits in what they do. You know, I mean, he's not a guy with crazy athletic ability. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Tom Brady. You know,
but he has a Joe Namath cool to him. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. You know, as a guy, was there to put up crazy stats in his career, but
good quarterback manager.
Was a winner. he was a winner, you know, and I said Jimmy Garoppolo, hey, he's a winner. I think him and Kyle Shanahan work good together, you know. He runs Kyle Shanahan's offense well. He knows it. Obviously, I think they want to go with an ultra-talented guy, and that's why they picked Trey Lance last year. But at the end of the day, your job as an organization is to win games. If you don't think Trey Lance is that guy, you got a winner in Jimmy Garoppolo on your roster. So I don't know. I think that's what they're feeling too. So
hey,
I have no idea what's going to happen, Santiago.
And they can trade within division. Seattle is an open spot. Your boy Drew Lock is there, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, that's another team that's flirting with the keyword of tanking, Santiago. So I think they're looking.
Drew Lock can't be that bad.
You gotta look at Santiago. You gotta look at. I mean, we'll combine two worlds, and that's college football, Santiago. There's a great quarterback class coming up next year.
There is, and it's worth the year to wait for.
Yeah, so I mean, just stick it out, Falcons, stick it out. Seahawks, stick it out. Have a bad year, it's okay. Like as long as your fan base is okay with it,
hey,
and they can see
the Dolphins did it.
They can, yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see if they got their guy. We'll see.
No pun intended. No pun intended. All right. Ryan, I can talk.
That's what they did.
I can talk all sports all day with you, but anyways, what is the best way to reach you, and when's your show?
Again, yes, like you said, 9 o'clock Sunday nights. Erwin Dudley. We'll try to get more. We'll see if anything happens between now and Sunday night with NBA free agency, but you can catch us there. And then, again, we'll see. Exciting time, Well, we even hit on college football, and that's its own crazy world in itself.
How about this? I'll have you back on Monday.
All right, let's do it. We'll catch up college football live.
College football, a lot going on there. Conferences are beefing it up. Super conferences. It might just come down to 2. But let's just hold our energy till Monday. Maybe we'll have Tyler talk about what's going on in Oregon. And, of course, Ryan's Florida losing all their recruits to Miami.
We have a super conference college football show here in Santiago.
Mario Cristobal flexing his muscles. But, anyways, we'll save it till Monday. You can contact us. You can contact us at the Sportscast1 on Twitter. You can reach us there. Also, the website, thesportscast.net, Instagram, the Sportscast1. Follow, subscribe, do all you can. Subscribe to our newsletter. If you guys, wake up in the morning and figure out if the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup or not, you can check in our email newsletter. We'll tell you right then. Anyways, Ryan, Christa, I didn't have time for hockey either, but I'll see you Monday. How about Monday? We'll leave the Avalanche for Monday.
All right, sounds good, Santiago. Everybody have a good weekend.
And this was your update.